Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Matt, for this session. So now we are closing the session, and we will start here on the main stage. We will have Leading in a New Reality, Nestlé Chile's Digital Transformation. We'll start here on the main stage. We have, in the parallel sessions, we'll be having Managing Without Problems. Nestor is going to present there. He just launched a book, so you have an opportunity to see this on the parallel session. And also on the parallel session, Advancing Efficiency and Customer-Centric Solutions with Tuba and Melda. They will be also in the parallel session. So you can choose now. And here on the main stage, I will leave with Veronica and Valery. Hello. Hello, Chile.
Hello. I am fine. I am very grateful for this time. So, you can hear me or not? Yeah, okay. So, welcome everyone to this presentation, Lending in the New Reality with Valery Vargas. She's Corporate Data and Analytic Manager at Nestlé Chile, who will provide insight from global food company Nestlé journey of digital transformation with its root in the lean and the continuous improvement. So, Valerie, welcome, and the microphone is yours. So please don't forget the question in the chat, and we'll review when end this presentation.
Thank you. Can we start?
Yeah, you can.
Can you see the presentation? Because I don't see it.
No yet.
Hello. Do you need any help, Veronica?
Should I share it again?
Yeah, please.
Okay, 1 second. Can you see it now?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Great.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, thank you everyone for the introduction, and welcome also everyone. It's really an honor for me to have the opportunity to share experience here on the Lean Network about how Nestlé Chile is evolving from a traditional model or digital operation and adopting new processes to digitize our value chain in a response to the consumer demand. So what we are going to see today is how we are adapting into this, as we said, into this new reality and how we are trying to compete in this new environment. So as a bit of a context, Nestlé Chile is a Swiss, as you know, it's a Swiss origin food company with a vast market history in our market. Its value chain is the classic case book study. Product manufacturing, distribution, commercialization, and marketing. Of course, this is an oversimplification of what we do because Nestlé Chile is actually one of the most complex markets that we have within the Nestlé structure because we have, as you see, many factories, business units, and we have a very long territory. It requires a lot of coordination so we can compete effectively in the market. So I'm making it a really simplification of what we do. But at the end, it's a really traditional model, the way that we are operating. We have a very strong presence of brands that are very valued by the Chilean consumers, but as mentioned, it's a classic model that relies heavily on marketing and the distribution to grow. However, as you know, in the last decade, we have seen that successful companies have been becoming more and more competitive, and they have been challenging all these traditional models. This is what we are calling the so-called digital revolution, you know. And when we compare ourselves against these industries, is what we are seeing that this was kind of our first wake-up call, because we realized that we needed to change something in the way we are operating so we can become relevant not just today, but also in the future. So we are in, or as we call it, transforming in that direction, but we are not yet there. And this change is driven basically by the market, and it's coming at a very fast pace. So when we see this chart, I'm going to try to show you this. It's summarizing basically the main milestones of the digital revolution, and it shows basically the timings between one and the others. And as you see, it's becoming shorter and shorter between one of the key milestones. And the number of the technologies available are also increasing. And also, in fact, if you only look at the artificial intelligence, you will see that actually we are seeing new releases every week and thousands of releases every week. So it's becoming very hard to keep up to date with the new changes that we are seeing every week. So the digital trends are really already part of everyday life, and everyday life also in the businesses. So you will see there are new trends in the life of the consumers and the way that we pay and the way that we consume data, the way that consumers are communicating with each other. In the way when you look at the factories, there are a lot of things going on too. And also in the way that the collaborators within the companies are also learning and communicating with each other. So the rules of the game are constantly changing. The companies that, whatever company that needs to be successful today, but also in the future, needs to adapt to this new context. So if the context is changing, we need to change with them. That was also what we learned from this. So as said before, this was kind of our wake-up call. So it is true, we are not a technology company, but we live in an era where everything is changing every day. It's a constant transformation, and we cannot remain indifferent to that. So as we said here, it's a new reality, and every company is now a tech company. So even if we are a food company, we need to learn how to incorporate technology in the way we are operating. But the key thing here is not just incorporating technology in any way. So it's not just about technology. It needs to be incorporated in a way that creates value for the consumers and also value for the stakeholders. So if you see here, the history is full of companies that were market leaders at some point of time, but failed because they were pushing technologies that did not creating any value real for the end of consumers. So you need to find the sweet spot between technology and the value creation, and also that's the key challenge here. I'm seeing a lot of people agreeing with this with this affirmation. So here is when we kind of our journey begins. So we decided that the digital transformation for us had to be a key competitive advantage for growth, so we can become more efficient, connect better with our consumers, and this is kind of the way that we can ensure the sustainability for our business for the future, because we had to build capabilities so we can maintain our leadership in a dynamic market. So we started the digital work strongly leveraging on all the lean learning. So for those who doesn't know, the lean learnings and the practice of lean is something that has been around in Nestlé for years now, not just in Chile, so around the world. So that's something that we really hold on to identify where were the kind of the projects, the opportunity areas that we had the greatest opportunities for digitalization, because we either had waste, we had opportunities for efficiencies, or we had actually an opportunity to make things differently. So those were something that we put like the first cornerstone to start the work before entering into the digital transformation. So as you will see here, we started with this, at least in Chile, digital transformation to make it as a competitive advantage for the market, to deliver growth, sustainable growth, to achieve higher efficiencies. That was the key ambition. We put together an organizational structure. We defined a roadmap of initiatives that were very focused on all those opportunities identified, driven by the lean opportunities that were like classified in the different business opportunities in the company. And also we started to put some data into the cloud. At that point in time, we didn't understand why we needed it in the cloud, but we just put some data in the cloud. Then the next year, we had, and we will see it in a few slides further, we had already a lot of initiatives delivering the benefits that we will talk about a little bit later, and delivering results across the value chain. We also started to create the data team, data and analytics teams, to deliver even more and start to action about on the data that we put into the cloud. And then we start to expansion and amplifying the results and realizing the benefits also that we had throughout the value chains. So we had also more and more data projects delivered throughout the value chain too. And as we will move forward in the timeline, we will see that we have been increasing the benefits coming from the digital programs. We have been evolving also the tools coming from the data projects, and evolving also the tools that we have been using across the portfolio. And now we are in a point where we're trying to figure out what we are going to do next. And this is what we are calling like the digital 2.0 strategy, and defining the new set of initiatives that are going to put it a little bit further on our ambition, and also incorporating the new technology like artificial intelligence and data, and also incorporating the learnings that we have in the first stage of the strategy.
So, Valery, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What can you tell has been the role in thinking in your digital transformation roadmap?
I will say first, as I mentioned before, it has been key, because for us, having all these results so far, like starting from connecting the projects that we started on, like very targeted projects on where are the key ways, the key efficiency opportunity has been key for our success. So we started with and we will see it in a few slides further, we started with a very small team, with a very structured team, but very small. But even though, because it was small, it was very focused on where were the value opportunities. So it was not just first, it was not just technology, because we had to put technology into place. So it was something that was actually going to transform the way we were operating or the way we were doing things. It was focused on value creation for the company or for the consumers. So first, the lean methodology, the lean opportunities detected was, and basically that was the first, I would say, cornerstone for us to start further. So just to connect with that, I'm going to say, for example, as mentioned before, we defined the ambition, but then when we put together the original organization structure, the digital business transformation team had a lean structure that was within the company, but also that it was accompanying the business team in the search for even more opportunities. So it was technology, it was data team, and it was a project team focused on implementing the opportunities that the Lean team was identifying. So it was a very focused digital transformation strategy with an organizational structure that was focused on enabling on the opportunities that were detected. And it was focused also on the work streams that I'm showing here. One on focus on, for example, identifying and delivering initiatives to making, for example, factories more efficient, or the supply chain, or the way that we were connecting with the consumers on the marketing space, or on the sales teams, or human resources or finance. So it was very focused, but also relying on the opportunities detected from the Lean methodologies and learnings and everything. So it was a key, I will say, cornerstone on strategy, having the Lean team within the strategy for the digital. So as a result of everything I mentioned so far, in the first 3 years that we have from the digital transformation, we have seen that we have been able to deliver, sorry. We have implemented more than 40 digital projects in the last 3 years, and all the I'm just showing like the most relevant ones, but we have actually initiatives that are ranging from factory automation to personalization, with more than 3 million Swiss francs of incremental benefits per year. Those are like kind of the tangible benefits, but if we look at the intangible benefits, as we call them, we have improved productivity, reduced production times, reduced logistics cost. So there is a lot of benefits behind the digital transformation, just because it was not something that we are going to do digital transformation just because we wanted to do digital, we had a purpose, we had a strategy, and we had all the opportunities detected in terms of waste, efficiencies, and we had a methodology too. And as a result of also, we connected the applied technology and the identified pockets of value coming from the Lean methodology. So basically, we consider this is a very successful first 3 years of the strategy, at least from all the pillars that we identify functionally. In terms of data, and as I mentioned before, we first started like very naive, like putting data into the cloud, not knowing yet what we're going to use it. But then in the way we try to connect it with a strategy. And so far, the progress has been also very, very significant. So here I'm going to show just a few examples of what we have been doing so far. But also we have a lot of opportunities and results on how we are using data to make a change across also the value chain. And we really think this is a huge opportunity for us, not just now, but also in the future, because if you think about the operation, everything generates data. Even from the consumers, the factories, everything generates data. So we have a lot of opportunities still there. And it's something that we are also prioritizing in terms of the how we're going to use it and how we're going to create even more value for the businesses and also for the consumers. So we can also incorporate the technologies, all the artificial intelligence and everything. And also, again, it's not just incorporating new methodologies. We need to connect how we're going to use it, and how these make a difference in terms of how we are going to make decisions or create a real value, either for the consumer or for the business. So that's also, again, even for data, the sweet spots that we need to connect. But everything I'm saying here is kind of the the good stuff, the the nice part of the journey. But to be honest, it hasn't been easy. We also have faced a lot of barriers that are like kind of the typical that you face when you're trying to make like a big change, like resistance to change because it's a cultural change behind that people is facing, and actually integrating new technologies, new ways to do things, especially in a traditional model, it's very hard. And as I mentioned, we have made a significant progress in every functional pillar. We have a lot of results by I don't know, in the factories, on sales, on supply chain, etc. But what we have realized so far is that if we really want to transform our operations, we need end to end. We need to connect the dots. So we need to approach the digital transformation differently, without silos, and that's really a big challenge. It sounds really easy, but it really isn't. So that's something that we're trying to grasp about it and try to think about it, how we're going to do it, because making it functional, it sounds easy, but transform your processes and transform the way you do it. That's really the key challenge here, and it's not really easy. So, and also how you push that change and not making it that just one function, not this small structure that I show in the first. It's not just this small mouse trying to push the change into the organization. So you need to push it like everyone needs to part of it in order to make this transformation and this cultural change happen. So that's really something that we have learned so far, and that's also the challenge that we have ahead. So, as mentioned, this is just the beginning. Our ambition is really much greater right now. Just what we want to do now is not just to be like to be more competitive or to have more efficiencies. We want to be, at least in Chile, the most advanced, the most agile, and the digital company in the food industry. So we want to keep the part of, we want to drive growth and unlock efficiency, but we want to be the best, at least in the food company. So that's something that it's something new, at least for us, because right now we started like in a very shy way. We want to do it, but we are not aiming to be the best one. Now we really want to be the best, and that puts like kind of a pressure on how fast we want to do it. So it not just transform, it's accelerate the way we are making the changes. So that's also like a big mindset change in the way we are making the things, at least in the digital transformation. So in terms of the data, which I mentioned before, that is something that we started in a very shy way. First, try to figure out how we're going to do it. It's something that, at least in big companies, is not very easy to push. And I want to share also some tips on how you could like accelerate like a data-driven strategy within a digital strategy, because it's also hard to like connect the dots in that side. So the first one, as mentioned before, you need to focus on value creation. As mentioned, everything generates data, but you want to have just collect data and have it there. You want to have it, especially if you are like collecting data into the cloud. That means cost. So if you don't have like a real business case on how you're going to do it or why you need that data, you better not do it, because you are like accumulating waste in some sort of way to say it. So you need to have a clear business case on why you want the data. So it's not a mean it's a mean, it's not an end itself. So you want to have like a really from the start why you want the data and put all the resources behind it. Otherwise, you're just like accumulating waste on your end. The second challenge on learning that we have, and it has been very hard also to get, is the talent, either internal and external. As you know, these are very appreciated skills that everyone wants to have. It's very hard to retain and attract these skills. So if you want to make it, if you want to create some things, you need to be very clear on why and what type of profiles do you need, depending on the business case that you also want to build in your company. So if you are just going to, like, I don't know, develop reports and create reports, you don't need, like, I don't know, very senior data scientists, because those people are going to, like, get bored very soon and they're going to leave the company. Or the other way around, probably you are going to I don't know, attract some data scientists that are very expensive kind of profiles. And for example, you're going to try to do something that are very simple. And so you need to balance what you want to do and make sure that the profiles are matching the business case that you want to have, because everyone are competing for those profiles. This part, the organization and ambidextry, is also a very critical one. We learn it in a very hard way, because you need to balance the run the business versus create the business. It's very easy to focus on kind of the operational urgencies, like what's really hot right now by the end of the month. And if you do that, probably you are not building the key capabilities you need to really make a change in your operations. So how you balance, considering everyone will have and will face resources constraints, how you balance the focus on what you need to deliver right now and what you need to deliver and probably will take a lot of months to deliver, but it's still really important. And that's something that you need to manage very well, especially in some things that are probably more complex and will take a lot of time to do. This one also is important, differentiate products from projects. For example, just for those who are not very clear with this, project is something that it has a very a start and it has a finish. It has an end. So it's really easy to allocate resources and then you plan it. And once the project is done, you can move to the next task. But when you have a product, the product is constantly evolving. So if you have a constraint of resources, probably some of the resources that are allocated to products are not going to be like free once you are working on a product. And for example, one of those examples is like a web page. A web page, if you're not constantly making changes, probably is going to be outdated very soon. So you need to make sure at the beginning what type of data or digital projects are you working on, and allocated the resources considering that how many resources and what type of projects are you working on. And data governance, this is, at least for me, it has been like one of the key ones, because the data part and the data governance is something that not everyone is very familiar with in the organization. So not everyone understands the roles of it. What are you going to do with the data? And it's very easy to get lost on who does what do you do with the data, etc. And it's very easily to get distracted on the conversations. And what you want to do is to keep the players playing and not losing time on discussing things that are really not, I don't know, getting something like providing any value to the conversation. So just take that out of the table and keep the players playing, and just put whatever initial rules and just keep it on later, but don't stop the work on those discussions that really don't add any value to it. And this last one, really not enough to say it. That's what I'm saying. You need to communicate, because everything you do on data If you don't drive the change management, people will go back to the usual way to doing things, either the Excel or either the usual way to do things, and the tools that you probably took months to deliver, they will go back and use the other way. So you need to make sure to understand people are using it. If you're facing barriers, you understand why they are not using it. They don't understand it. It's not good enough. How you improve it. So it's key for adoptions, and you can remove barriers. So it's a way to educate, to drive
Valery?
adoptions, and to ensure change management. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Veronica,
Valery.
unfortunately, the time is over. I would invite you
Yes.
to go to the lobby, talk to people there. So it's an opportunity. Again, thank you very much for sharing this story with us. Bye bye.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Christopher.